What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living in West Africa. And if you want to know if I regret leaving Ghana and moving to Sierra Leone, then this is the video for you. All right. We are live on YouTube and we're live on Instagram. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about if I regret moving to Sierra Leone from Ghana. Many of you guys might know I lived in Ghana for 2 years, over 2 years, before moving to Sierra Leone last year. And people keep asking me all the time, do I regret the move? Which country is it? So today, we're going to get into it. Which country do I like better, Ghana or Sierra Leone? Do I regret moving to Sierra Leone from Ghana? What do I miss about Ghana? So we're going to get into all of that today. But first, I need to know if you guys can hear me and where you guys are watching from. So if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Also, like this video if you like this particular content. Like this video and also give me a thumbs up and then let me know where you're watching from. So where are you guys watching from? And give me a thumbs up. Where are you guys watching from? Let me know where you're watching from and if you can hear me. There's a little bit of background noise. I got a fan on because it's really hot in here right now. I haven't installed the AC yet, so it's hot. All right, we got Chucks from Texas. Cecilia said you can hear me. Chuck said you can hear me too. All right, cool. Henry says you can hear me. Cool. Pharaoh's descendant is watching from Alaska. All right. ST Pharaoh is watching from Nigeria. We got Dynamic Deborah is watching from Denver, Colorado. All right. Shot Dog, is it Shout Dog? 23 is watching from Alabama. Pepe said you can hear me. Cool. Chang is watching from a country whose flag I do not recognize. I mean, I recognize the flag. I just don't know what country it is. So you got to tell me where you watch from. Anne-Marie Harding is watching from London. Shout out to Anne-Marie Harding, who always shows up. G.H. Kwame is watching from the USA. What's up? All right. Yeah, I can hear you. Patty Ann says, yeah, I can hear you. I'm watching from Connecticut. Okay. Was in Connecticut 2 years ago. Tony Tenudos, DC is in the house. Okay, Aubrey Williams from Texas. Kokoshe is watching from Canada. The King of Lock is watching from Brooklyn. BK, stand up. Chang is watching from Mozambique. Phoenix Lounge is watching from Scotland, but African from Kenya. Big Sultan is watching from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Once upon a time, a very long time ago, I actually used to go to Harrisburg East Mall frequently. So that's a Harrisburg inside situation there. Greg McMillan is watching from North Carolina. Janine is watching from Tampa, Florida. Again, today we're going to talk about, do I regret moving to Sierra Leone from Ghana? I moved to Africa, West Africa in particular, December of 2020. I spent about 2.5 years in Ghana, moved from there to Sierra Leone. Seems like a counterintuitive move for many. So people want to know how I feel about the move. Do I regret it? What do I miss about Ghana? We're going to get into all of that today. But first, I'm just asking you guys where you guys are watching from. So Donovan, is it McQuillan? Donovan McQuillan is asking a great question. How many hours of the day do you have power? Well, that's going to be one of the things we address today, Donovan. So stay tuned. We'll talk about it. I'll just make sure to keep note of that question. Donovan asked, how many hours? So I'll get to that. All right, so usually I do a quick introduction about who I am. I usually do a presentation on that. Today's been a crazy day, so I don't have the time to do that. But I will say this. I have a consulting business helping people move to West Africa, buy land, visit, and move. I also help people build their social media platforms. I can run it for you with my social media agency, or you can consult with me and I can walk you through what you can do to grow your platforms. If you need an influencer, I also got you covered. And if you want to advertise your brand, you can advertise your brand across all my platforms if you like. All right. Looks like we got a pretty good group in here. Let's see. MHSZN says, hey, I'm just like you. I moved out of Dubai. Can I join your yard? Okay, I think you want to join the stream yard. I think that's what you're asking. Maybe down the line for sure. Not just this very moment. Okay, so sorry, it gets a little dusty in here, and it gets a little bit build up. Okay, so anybody else from anywhere else we haven't covered yet? I mean, we got Alaska in the building. That was new. I don't know how many times I've mentioned Alaska. Donovan's asking, how much fun is it when it rains? Okay, Donovan has another question. Okay, that's a good question, Donovan. Oh, my live stream ended. That's trash. Guys, my Instagram live stream just ended out of nowhere. So I'm gonna have to open up live. I'm gonna have to open up Instagram again and go live again. That was very random. Very random. Okay, let's try that again. Sorry. That was very strange that happened. So we're gonna have to go live again on Instagram. So I'm just gonna have to reintroduce it to the Instagram audience. So bear with me. All right, guys. So I don't know what just happened. Instagram just went out. The YouTube group, you guys have seen this the whole time. Instagram just stopped the live. So you guys are coming back into the live now. We're going live again on Instagram. Today we're talking about whether or not I regret moving to Sierra Leone from Ghana. I lived 2.5 years in Ghana. I've now lived a little over almost a year in Sierra Leone, and I'm going to tell you if I regret the move, which country is better, and what I miss about Ghana. For those of you who are just joining, as I mentioned before, if you're planning to make the move to the continent, I got you. You need consulting for buying land, building a house, buying a condo or an apartment in either Sierra Leone or Ghana. I can help you execute that process. I have the skills and or the partnerships that can get that for you, that can help you with that. I also have a consulting business for social media. If you want to grow your social media platforms, I have close to 500,000 across all platforms. Well, at least a little over 400,000 across all platforms. So I know how to build platforms for businesses in particular. And of course, if you need an influencer or if you want to market your brand, you can do that on the platform. All right, so let's get into today's content because I like to do that introduction first so you know who you're talking to. Now we're going to talk about what we came to talk about. So, I moved to Sierra Leone in almost a year. In about a little over 5 weeks, it'll be a year since I moved to Sierra Leone. I left Ghana on a whim, 7 days to move, 7 days. So we're talking about me trying to figure out where to put my stuff in storage. There were no storage units. So then it was like, all right, can I sell all my stuff and then just get on a flight to Sierra Leone from Ghana? And that's what I did. Got on a flight, moved in with a colleague of mine who's on the board of a nonprofit. We're on the board of a nonprofit together. And so I moved in with him for a couple of months. And then I moved into this place, the place that I'm working on building as we speak. So what has my experience been like? Do I regret it? A lot of people ask me that question. Do you regret moving to Sierra Leone from Ghana? And the answer to that question is no, I don't regret it. Do I miss living in Ghana though? Absolutely. There are a number of different things I miss about living in Ghana, and there's also a number of different things that I like better here in Sierra Leone. It's a toss up. There are different things. So number one, let's just go down the list, and then I'll answer some questions along the way. So we'll talk about what I miss and what about Ghana I liked better. So number one thing I really liked about Ghana, which people don't talk about enough, is Ghana's expat community or immigrant community. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like, so many people from other parts of Africa live in Ghana. I had more friends from outside of Ghana in Ghana than I had friends in Ghana. Ivorians, Zimbabweans, Nigerians, Sierra Leoneans living in Ghana. These are all like my friend groups. And I really do miss that element because culturally it was helpful for me to understand different countries and the different tribes in those countries, the different cultural things that they do, the languages they speak. It's one thing to try to learn about different things happening on the continent from like the platform, the Authentic African platform. It's another thing to talk to people directly about their experience, right? The differences between the Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, and Ghana, or the difference between Senegal and Ghana, Nigeria and Ghana. We had those conversations all the time, and so it was really great to have that experience, getting to know people from other parts of Africa, and what their experience was like living in Ghana, right? While living in Sierra Leone, I very rarely meet people from other countries living here, besides like European countries, people working for NGOs. And there are others, like, don't get me wrong, through some of my friends, I met some people from Uganda. I've met some other people who are Nigerian for sure. But for Ghana, for sure, by far, I had the best experience meeting people from other parts of Africa and Ghana. A lot, actually. And a lot of diasporans, too. A lot of, some people call them Africans that were living in America, or diasporans, African Americans, whatever you want to call them. I met a lot of them in Ghana. And, obviously I'm culturally African American. So to me, that's been great too. That was great. That was a great experience. So that's one of the things I miss. For sure, that's a big thing that I miss. Sorry, something just fell. And then what else do I miss? Food and its varieties. Now, Sierra Leone, let me tell you right now. So there's a question here. GH Kwame says, how different is the jollof rice? It's different and better here in Sierra Leone than it is in Ghana. And I will venture to say it's even better than Nigerian jollof. Argue amongst yourselves. I don't care. It's my truth. So that's what it is. And yes, of course, there's some country pride associated with it. But just in general, your taste buds will tell you. Look at all the international competitions. If Sierra Leone isn't number one, it's number two to Senegal. And Senegal's where it's originated. So you got to give it up to Senegal for jollof rice. But, as you go further as you go further east, in my opinion, it doesn't get any better. It gets better as you go further west. So that's my particular opinion. Again, argue amongst yourselves. I don't care what you guys think. I'm just telling you, Sierra Leone jollof is the best of the three jollofs that I've had. And I've had them in homes, I've had them in restaurants, I've had them everywhere. So so that's the question about jollof. And so food. So one of my challenges here is, you can live places that are like a food desert, which is something it's something that they utilize, this term they utilize in the United States for places where it's difficult to find food. So for me, right, where I live full time here in Sierra Leone currently, it's difficult to get people to deliver their food items here, right? We don't have Bolt or Postmates, Uber Eats, Glovo, Jumia food, right? We don't have those options to order food to get delivered to your door. So you have to work with a restaurant who might be working with Okada rider, a bike rider, who might actually deliver the food on their behalf. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. But I'm far enough away where they don't want to do that. So that's a challenge, right? If you want to get food, I have a 24-hour place that I have to go get on a bike, go there, get my food to go, come back home if I want to eat it at home, or I just eat it there. It's not too far for me, but it's far enough. And my walk to finding a bike to get there is pretty far. I don't have a car here currently. I'm not utilizing a vehicle here right now. So getting around on a bike is a big part of it. So that's the difference in food and food culture. So overall, both places had fresh fruits and vegetables. I did have more of a variety of fruits in Ghana, I will say. But like the freshness of the fruit that I get here, and there are no pesticides used at all in this country. So almost everything grown is like organic. It's like 90-something% organic and grown in country, I understand, without any pesticides, insecticides, etc. Why does Instagram keep cutting off my live? That's crazy. That's the second time in 26 minutes. Instagram, why are you disappointing me today? Really? But anyway, so those of you still on YouTube, we'll talk about it. So here's a question. So Raven's saying, you mentioned having trouble finding storage space in Ghana. Do you mean that there are no storage unit facilities or not convenient? How far would you have to travel? It's simply not convenient. No, there were no storage facilities. Googled it, asked locals. I knew somebody with a container, but their container was mostly full and I couldn't put my stuff in it. So no storage units. At least not in Accra or Tema from anybody I talked to that was online. HS says a multicultural society is better than a society with a predominantly one single tribe. That is true. Mohammed Kagbo says, thank you for raising our jollof rice up. Of course, it's the best. No question. That's a business opportunity right there. I guess you're talking about storage units. Probably so. All right, so let me get the Instagram live going again, because that's crazy that it just shut that down. So let's try that again. Because I got to go live again, and if they cut me off again, we'll just leave it as is. Because how many times can I go live on Instagram and do this introduction all over again? All right, guys, so this is the second time in 26 minutes. Instagram cut the live short. Don't know what that's all about, but we're talking today about whether or not you regret leaving Ghana and moving to Sierra Leone, and which country is better and why. So we're going to talk about it we've been talking about it. And so if you caught the first two lives, we talked about it, and we're talking about it some more now. So we've already talked about the African nationals from other countries living in Ghana. It was great for me to learn about other African cultures and meet different people from around the continent. What was challenging, though, was getting to know Ghanaians, local Ghanaians. That's different for me here in Sierra Leone, where I've gotten a chance to know local Sierra Leoneans, but also most of the people that I know are Sierra Leonean diasporans that moved back, right? Kika Moonlight's in the building. What's up, Kika? From Nigeria, Delta State, but I think she's in Ghana now, if I'm not mistaken. So that furthers my point. Like I said, she's Nigerian living in Ghana. So there were a lot of Nigerians I met there, so I really appreciated that. We also talked about food. Best jollof rice east of Senegal, right here in this country in Sierra Leone. So, of course, I love the jollof rice here better. And but I was also mentioning that it was easier to find food in Sierra Leone. In Ghana, sorry. Transportation. So Ghana is up on transportation. They have Uber, they have Bolt, They have Yango. So they have multiple ride-sharing apps that you can utilize to get around. It makes it a whole lot easier. You know exactly how much it costs to go from your location to your destination. There, you can't really negotiate. The price is in the app. Here, on the other hand, you talk to two different bike guys, and they're going to tell you two different prices to go to the same place. And you got to just start getting good at guesstimating, it should cost me this much to go this far. Because they're always going to offer you a price that's going to be higher than what you should pay, especially if you have a foreign accent to them. So transportation, I think, was also better for me in Ghana for all those reasons, right? The ride-sharing apps, proliferation of ride-sharing apps has really helped to make getting around in a foreign country easier, especially if the people don't speak English or speak English that well. They can follow the GPS. So I would definitely say the transportation issue is an issue. One of the other things that I'll mention about food, which I didn't get into, is vegan-friendly restaurants that served vegan food. So shout out to Mahogany at the ANC Mall. Man, I ordered from Mahogany, I'm going to say probably about 100 times. I don't know how many times I ordered from them, but I ordered when I was at the office at Jumia. I would order to friends' houses. I would order to my house through Glovo, delivering all the way to Chado when I was living in Chado and in Accra. And they would deliver. And that was great because the apps give you a radius where they can deliver, and they would deliver. One of my biggest challenges here is that I'm kind of in a food desert where I am currently. So it does make it a little bit difficult. Okay. Let's see if there's any other questions on anything I mentioned or any comments. All right, so the next topic we're going to talk about is electricity. Ghana's electricity is much more stable. In fact, I just saw a story this week that Ghana is going to be supplying electricity to Nigeria. So their electricity is much more stable. They do have power outages for sure, but not as often as we do here. Like, for example, today, and where I'm staying currently, I had 3 power outages, one right before going live. When I was in Ghana, I think we'd have a power outage maybe twice a week, once a week, 45 minutes or so, lights back. And so with that, you don't have to worry about stuff in your fridge going bad or stuff in your freezer going bad. You know, you don't have to worry about, turning off all your devices and then turning them back on after light comes back because you don't want to blow out the fuse in those devices. So there's just a lot that you have to keep in mind when it comes to the electricity and the lack thereof here, right? You have to base your life around knowing that electricity is scarce. So again, I have a generator that I operate personally, and it runs quite frequently because it was just running today for about 3 hours. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the big challenges for sure. So Donovan was asking, how many hours are you out of light? Sometimes 5, sometimes 2, sometimes 1, sometimes 8, sometimes 72 hours. It really all depends on if it's your transformer or if it's the overall electrical grid. He asked about the rain. Is the rain fun? Torrential downpours during the rainy season here in Sierra Leone is not ideal or conducive to people going out and getting a lot of work done. So that's challenging. And that's something that I would say in Accra, the rainy season is not so bad. You know, I didn't know what the rainy season really was like until last year. It was the first time I spent. Lights don't go. Look at that. See? We just talked about electricity, right? You guys were asking. This is like a meme right here. All you can see is my teeth. You guys were asking, right? What's the electricity situation like? do you and so I'm telling you, this is what it's like. You know, it's not ideal to be live right now and trying to find oh, lights back. Look at that. But that happens often, right? It happens often. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. But I'm trying to actually find the plug um, for my ring light so I can plug it into my computer. So in case that happens again, it's not completely dark. So let's try this again. Boom, boom. There we go. We're back. All right. So yeah, I mean, look, the electricity issue, obviously. Torrential downpours during the rainy season causes flooding. There are many secondary and tertiary effects of the rain, and so it's not ideal and not conducive to work hours. So that's rain. So a lot of people during the rainy season don't go to work or shut down their establishments or change their hours. I mean, a lot of things are greatly impacted by um, the rainy season in Sierra Leone, and people just operate their lives around the rainy season. So the rainy season is definitely a thing. Uh, GH Kwame wants to ask about women. Um, Here's what I'll do on Patreon and behind the paywall. I think I'll talk about more personal things like that, dating and things like that. I will no longer on the free platform talk about dating. So I am going to start putting up a link to the Patreon, and you'll be able to subscribe to the Patreon and get all kinds of that kind of content. All kinds of content about dating, things to look out for, the wild stories, all of that. You'll get all of those, but you won't get that here. So when the time comes, I will announce the Patreon, what services are going to be available, and you'll be able to sign up for it on the live. So I'm actually going to make a note of it. Patreon. So we'll do all kinds of dating stories on the Patreon. There are lives, there are posts that right now are that you guys would love, that are archived and not open to the public right now. So I'm gonna upload those to Patreon so you guys can see those. Man, a lot of wild stuff, a lot of wild stories in these countries that I've lived in. So we'll get to that. So yeah. Do I miss some things in Sierra from Ghana? Absolutely. But here's some of the things that I like better. So as I mentioned, jollof rice is better. I like a lot of our own, local traditional dishes. But even the ones that we share, I like Sierra Leone's versions better. So jollof rice we have, Ghana has jollof rice. Ghana's jollof rice not as good. Granite soup, peanut butter soup. I like theirs. I like ours better. And so, there's a few things that we do that they do, food-wise. But yeah, I mean, nothing beats mahogany. Man, mahogany's food was so good. I ate it almost, like literally, maybe 3 days a week, 3 to 5 days a week at the office, and then over the weekend I'd order it too. I would make trips just to A&T Mall just for mahogany and nothing else. Not even to go shopping at the mall. It was just to go to mahogany because the food was so good. So Ms. S says, you don't notice the electricity going off much with the generator. Each time I've been to Sierra Leone, the place I stayed at had a generator. Yeah, so a lot of buildings have an automatic changeover. So you don't have to physically go change over the switch to move from your EDSA power to the generator. Where I am right now and what I'm doing right now is it's manual. So so we do notice it here. but we're working on some potential backup solutions beyond the gen um, that'll, mitigate some of those challenges, especially on the main house. Um, okay. So you guys also feel free to ask me any direct questions about the experience, what I like, what I don't like, what I miss, what I wish, all that kind of stuff. Because I do definitely want to hear from you guys if you guys have any questions on these kinds of things. There was also a barbershop that I really like to go to. He was really good at shaping up my beard. This last barber I used cut too much off the sides here, and now it's flat. It's supposed to be rounded. So Raven's asking, between Ghana and Sierra Leone, which country has easier process of becoming a resident, buying land? It depends, right? So both of them have a residency permit. They both have the ability to become residents, but to become a naturalized citizen, right? I think that's what it's called. Sierra Leone has a couple of different options. If your parents were born here, or if you can trace your DNA ancestry back to Sierra Leone through African ancestry, you can get citizenship. So something to think about. But there are residency permits. Not too difficult to get, but if you need them, I got you. I can help you get a residency permit for Ghana. I can help you get a residency permit for Sierra Leone. So if you need to get that done, you can hit me up with a consulting session, and I'll walk you through that process. And the consulting session email is just authenticafricanlife@gmail.com. Okay, cool. So what else is there? Is that it? I guess that's it. So Kika Moonlight has a question. Tim Black has a question. Let's see Tim Black. Hello, I'm just coming. So you may have already answered this, but does Sierra Leone have freehold or leasehold? Oh, that's a difference. That's a major difference. So Sierra Leone, mostly freehold land. Ghana, mostly leasehold land. So you never really quite own the land in Ghana. So, something to think about. Kwame is saying hello. The Kika Moonlight, or the Black Kika, is saying, how much is it going to cost to get a resident permit in Ghana? It's a good question. If you want to speed up the process, and if you need help getting one, it usually costs somewhere between $200 and $700, depending on how fast you want to get it done and when you need to get done. So it can be very expensive, depending on how you want to get it done and who you want to get it done. How fast you want to get it done, and which kind of residency permit you need. If it's going to be through a job, the job will pay for it. If it's going to be through a person who has the hookup, then it's going to cost. Tim Black says, that's a big deal, owning your own land to me. Yeah, it is. It's a very big deal. That's a good point. Absolutely good point. I'm exhausted, guys. Up late, then up early. So I apologize for the yawns. But yeah, I was up late last night and I woke up early too. So Kika Moonlight, it's not by percentages with African ancestry in terms of what percentage. It's just if any of the tribes show up, you can get your citizenship. I wish I could show what the results look like, but basically it's like, oh, and she's asking how I am. I'm good. All is well. But I do miss some things about being in Ghana for sure. But it's been good being in Sierra Leone. Worth it so far for me. But the other thing is, when I first got to the continent of Africa, I was in Sierra Leone for 2 months. During that second month, I had a conversation with the CEO of a company, the country CEO for Jumia Ghana, And within 2 months after that, I had a job at Jumia in Ghana. Trying to get a job in Sierra Leone at one point in time became very, very difficult. Very difficult. So yeah, I mean that's the issue. So getting jobs here in Sierra Leone, I think for me and with my skill set and the limited for-profits sector, made it challenging. Tim Black says, have you considered solar power for your house and guest house? Yes, I have, and I will be adding solar for sure. As of right now, a generator was more cost-effective and easier to set up. So we went with that. But yeah, definitely solar will be available in the main house, and as will a generator just as a backup, either one backup to the other, because you never know what can happen. So I owe Kika Moonlight feedback on jobs and stuff like that. I don't have any openings right now, but maybe anyway. I'll check again through my emails and see what you were looking for and see if I can help. She doesn't intend on returning home to Nigeria, so she lives in Ghana. She doesn't intend on returning home to Nigeria. Tim Black says, please hit the like button, everyone. Yes, please hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up. Yes, hit that thumbs up. So you let the algorithm know that you find this useful and that other people should be watching it. So definitely hit that like button. All right, so Tim Singh, last question. Is your home city water or well water? City water. So I'm using, or whatever you call it. I don't know if it's city water, but I'm using, it's a Guma water 3 days a week. But I am going to eventually get a well or a borehole so that I can get my access to my own water and I don't have to wait for those 3 days a week where they barely pump any water out anyway. So yeah. Hope that answers your question. Does anybody else have any questions for me? If you don't, we can potentially bring this thing to a close, but I will say this. Those of you who are watching and you want to support the channel, help me help get you that information, definitely support, if you can, whatever you can, by tipping on PayPal and or Cash App. And then separately, I am going to be doing a Patreon. And I'm going to make it $1 a day. Sorry, $1 a day. $1 a month if you just want to support and a monthly reoccurring support. And then specifics to different services, right? Yep. Okay. Ha. The Black Kika Moon Knight. It's an interesting question. Now, this is not on topic, but I do sometimes say, ask me anything. So what is your take on international relationships? Here's my take on international relationships. I personally had a very close friend, had an amazing relationship that was interracial. And growing up, of course, I went to a boarding school with, kids from other races. And, we as all the kids, all of us at that time dated other races. So my thought process is do whatever you please, whatever is best for you. There's all kinds of conversations about keeping your bloodline, your genetics, and all that kind of stuff. And so you can decide that for yourself if that's what you like. But for me, I don't interfere with anybody's personal life, whether that's relationships or otherwise. GH Kwame is saying, talk about the beautiful beaches and nightlife. Yes, Sierra Leone has the best beaches, 7 to be exact, if I'm not mistaken. Well, how do I say 7 to be exact, if I'm not mistaken? 7 if I'm not mistaken. But I've been to a couple of them, and they are nice beaches. But I've also been to Labadi Beach, and I wasn't that impressed. But they do have another beach towards Tema, which was nicer and a lot more fun. So I think Ghana and its beaches are also great, but not as good as Sierra Leone, in my opinion. Andy G said, any agricultural land available for long-term lease? If yes, price range. Well, for purchase, yes. Price range depends. Where and when the land is being purchased. Roots Farm is saying, is there a website that explains how much it costs to import and clear, such as vehicles, machines, tools, etc.? Generally, no. You kind of have to go to the ports to see that. That's the biggest challenge. But that's something I look to offer as well. I'll make sure I get that information. If you send me an email from the folks at Roots Farm, I can get you that update. Tim Black says, how are the roads when is the home and apartment tour coming? Roads aren't bad. They're basically the same depending on what part of town you're in. I mean, I would say Ghana's roads are a little bit better in Accra proper than in Sierra Leone. I mean, in Freetown. But overall, you know, there's all those houses being constructed, and there's all kinds of challenges with the roads in those areas. I'm fading out quickly. Oh, and then the home and apartment tour coming. They are coming when my real estate content comes out. I got a whole bunch of Tanzania videos to do the rest of this month, and then the next month, then the following, we're doing real estate. We're doing apartment tours under $1,000. We're doing apartment tours, luxury apartment tours in Ghana. We're doing hotels. We're doing, you know, big land projects. And then you're getting this house tour, and you'll get the whole story about what's going on at this house, because, man, it has not been easy with different contractors. We'll talk about it another day. We're not going to go through it now. All right, guys, I think we're going to bring this live stream to an end. We're at 42 minutes. I'm exhausted. It seems like you guys found this helpful and interesting. If you guys want to do another live like this, let me know. Shoot me DMs, shoot me messages on what kind of content you want me to talk about. We'll be interviewing some people in the coming weeks. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward to getting a good night's rest. You see, this is my age showing. All right, but anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you all on the next video.